it's us again. So we got a lot of love on our last video. So one piece of feedback that we got back was that we should, like, when I ask him a question, I should also answer the question. So when I was thinking about the question that I asked him before, what does he think about love? I thought about acceptance, accepting the person that you're with for who they are, who they are foundationally. I think there's always room for growth. I think there's always room to advance who you already are, to enhance all of the qualities that you had, that you possess, that I fell in love with from the beginning. So, but I do also think that it's so important to accept the person that you're with, and that's something that we kind of struggle with a little bit in the beginning, because it's just a process. I think that it's just a process, and we're still going through a process now. I mean, we've gotten better with time. It's become easier, but it's still always a work in progress, right?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, shout out to I ain't gonna be too loud. Akiba, it's your fault. Y'all there talking about, like, you need to speak up.
He said, so yeah.
I'm up. I look tired, but I'm up. But yeah, growth and acceptance. It's important to set your own self goals. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta set goals for yourself, and pretty much, like, that's what you want to bring to the table. You come to the table as you are, but the goal is to never remain as you are. Like, when you're with a person, there's certain things you're just gonna compromise. You know, like, it's just certain things that get on people's nerves. Like, and as long as it's not stripping away from who you are foundationally, like you mentioned, then yeah, it's always good to set self-goals. One of the models I like to adopt in terms of like love, you know, we always talking about love, is be fly, first love you. And when you're loving yourself, you have no choice but to change and grow. And you come to accept yourself for who you are foundationally, but time never stops, those hands never stop ticking. So yeah, you definitely want to change from that perspective.
And I think is another thing that's imperative to growth is will. When you're with somebody, you have to want to I don't want to say change. I don't want to use that word. You have to want to grow. Right? You just want to think about the things that make you who you are, but how can you make that better? Because you fell in love with me for who I am, and you always say that I'm an anomaly, and the way that I think is different than what you've experienced in past relationships and just in general with the opposite sex. So but that didn't make me perfect, right? So it didn't make me great, you know. It made you notice me, right? So I think a lot of things that we've done throughout our process and our journey was be honest, and that's so important. When we always ask each other this question, what can I do to love you better, or what can I do to be better? And I think that when your significant other asks you that you have to try to be, that's just such a vulnerable, you have to be extremely vulnerable, and you have to humble yourself to say, like, all right, to even ask that question, you have to humble yourself. You have to say, okay, I'm ready for whatever answer I'm gonna get from this question that I just posed to the person that I love. And I think it's our responsibility to answer as honestly as we can, because if we do, we get a better version of the person that we're with, right?
Absolutely.
So it just makes the relationship better. And there's things that in the past that I've said that I'm pretty sure didn't make you feel the most comfortable, or didn't make you feel at ease at all, like things that push you, that challenge you, things that make you want to be better.
I like what you just said there real quick. It's a lot of things you just said that, you know, my brain is always operating, but men, we grow through challenge. Like, you know, I bet you can't jump over that rock this fast or something like that. We always talk to each other like that growing up, so we develop and grow through challenge. A woman develops and grows through praise. So it's things that she would say to herself, you know, ladies, you tend to ask your man those questions. How do they look in this or that? Or I don't like this or that about myself. And I told her that I'm not going to give you any negative feedback about who you are because I don't see you that way. If you don't like what you see,
change it. And that's so true. And then I'll be like, dang, I feel like you never want to hurt my feelings. Like, I feel like you always just trying to make me feel good. I'm like, be honest. Just say like, do you think I'm overweight? Like, this was before we started really, before we became vegan, before we were working out, before we were purposeful with our health. I was just like, dang, babe, like, just tell me, like, if I look a mess or, like, if I look, like, you know, I got like, Tina the talking tummy. But he'd be like, oh, I never say nothing negative about you, blah, blah, blah. And I guess in that sense, it's okay to not be as blunt because it would have hurt my feelings. But I also think it would have pushed me to make a difference faster.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, maybe it would have pushed you to make a difference faster, but the way I'm looking at it, that you'll never look at yourself like you're good enough. So if I'm just one of those individuals. I'm an artist, so this falls in line with being an artist. I'm always looking for the qualities that I love about you. The things I don't like, I'm never afraid to speak on. I'll speak out on it, but it's not going to come at a sense, you know, where you're going to feel like, you know, you're just not good enough.
When you're in a relationship with somebody, to take somebody else's opinion and say, I accept that you feel that way and you accept that I feel this way, and that's fine. Like, we don't have to always agree on everything. And for the most part, we do agree on a lot of things, but I'm so okay. And I wasn't before. It was something that we'd have to keep on revisiting and keep on talking about because neither one of us were okay with the other one not agreeing with us.
Earlier in our relationship, it took a little while to figure it out, but I was the type that getting into that serious mode would make me emotionally unavailable. Where I'll just be on my own island, doing my own thing, and I would move that way, and that wasn't good. That's not good for a person that loves to communicate, loves to know what's going on, and like, you know, my mood will eventually affect her mood if I'm so emotionally unavailable like that. Because, you know, are you alive? Is it a pulse in there? Are you okay? I could get like that sometimes. And it's like, you know, you get trapped in all those deep thoughts and you kind of drift away. But I kid you not, over the course of time, it actually helped me to not be so in-depth in thought. Like, you just need certain things or certain mechanisms where, it's unproductive time, but you need that. You gotta, it's like balancing your life with playtime, prayer time, and work time, a time to be serious. Like, if you don't got that balance in your life, something's off. And that helped me to be a lot more balanced, and she gave me that room to grow in that emotional unavailability. So
I think another thing, something that was kind of that is sort of concrete about you that I've learned to accept is the way that you think. Like he said, he's very cerebral and he thinks about things. Like, I feel like our minds work a lot differently. Like, the way that he would interpret something is totally different from the way that I would interpret something. Our perspectives were different, and that could be because of our age difference. That could be because of the environments we grew up in. It could be because you're a male and I'm female. Humility is imperative to a successful relationship.
You don't know everything. Nobody's perfect. You know, in terms of this perfection thing, I'm big on being a perfectionist, so to speak, right? But in a relationship, and even in the relationship with yourself, it's not about perfection, but progression. You never want to be stagnant, but you want to be progressing, you know, developing in those areas where you know that you feel you need to grow in. Especially when you are in a relationship with somebody and you are giving time to grow into being a better person. You don't want to waste that time or take the other person for granted. Okay, they're just gonna love me for who I am and that's it. Well, no, like, that mood, when they're in a good mood, you know, You want to have that come around or be present more often. And that comes with just, one, being consistent, but two, constantly pushing yourself to grow. So when you got that that self-motivation, and that motor is ticking on your own time, that's a good thing. Because otherwise, that's when you still will get those challenges and then will turn into negative feedback, which is not bad. Some people like and require that negative feedback, and that gets them moving, but it has to be balanced out with that sense of positivity. You can't have one without the other.
So humble yourself. Take a moment to think about yourself, right? When you think about you and you think about all the moods that you have, you think about all the thoughts that you have, you think about all the feelings that you have, and then you have to think about how the person that you're with equally or more or less deal with those same thoughts and feelings and moods. So
even more so, they on the outside looking in at you.
Right. No, not with your moods, how they deal with their own.
Oh, okay.
Like, so we all come to the table with our own set of things. We all come to the table with our own moods. We all come to the table with our own thoughts. We all come to the table. We're individuals, and that's also something that we had to work through.
Right.
So the couple that you see today, we've worked through so many things, and it's made us better. It didn't make us perfect, but it made us better than we were. Just realizing that we're our own people. Yes, I love him, but my happiness doesn't contingent upon his, right? So when he's in a mood, when he's not happy, I had to learn that doesn't belong to me, and that if I hadn't done anything to contribute to that mood, then it shouldn't affect me the way that it was affecting me. So we don't have to say, oh, you're in a bad mood, so now I'm in a bad mood, and then now you have to figure out a way to get me out of my bad mood. So you can't even work through your own feelings now, because now you have to come outside of yourself to help me. Because I'm mad because you was upset and I had no idea. I had nothing to do with it. So I think that is something that we really we changed. We grew from, and I think it's made us less moody or less in our feelings.
Or just kind of like more understanding behind it. Like one thing that we are progressing into is like, okay, in this space and time, is it can I express her love language to her? Is that something that she requires at this point, or does she just need space? I just need space. Normally, if I need some space, I take it.
Definitely go for a walk. Yeah,
I do. I wake up 2-3 in the morning with all these different thoughts in my head. I'll just leave and go take a walk, and that does come with a sense of trust. When you don't got none of us have all the answers. You never will. That's why there's people that lived before you that wrote down their progression in life, so you could pick up where they left off at and kind of make yourself better. Nobody's a finished product. We all are lacking something, like, whether that be from environment, whether that be from upbringing, whatever the case may be. But you're responsible for your own success individually and in a relationship. When you come to the table with something, you don't got to bring no specific resource. That willingness to want to be, I could generalize it just like that, is everything. Because, we came to the table and met each other, obviously, unfinished products, but that willingness to just want to be better.
And we're still unfinished.
Still unfinished, still on the path.
I love that, though. I love that about us. I love that we're unfinished. I love that we still have more work to do. I'm willing to do the work. I'm excited about doing the work. I've seen how much you've grown. I've seen how much I've grown. I've seen how much better our relationship has grown when we just humbled ourselves and said this, and we made a decision. Like, we just made the choice. Like, this is it. This is us. This is who we're gonna spend the rest of our lives with.
Right.
So what can we do to make this as successful as possible? In conclusion, just be willing to change. Be willing to break generational curses. Be willing to not be toxic. realizing what toxic traits are, what your toxic traits are, and not bringing them into relationships. What we always talk about is bettering ourselves, because if we're better individuals, we're better together, we're better parents, we're better lovers, we're better friends to people that we love. We're just better. We're all around. You're just better when you really hone in on the things that you do to contribute to other people's pain. So just accept the person that you're with, accept who you are. If you don't like who you are, change it, not change it, grow, work, go through the process, start the process. For anybody who's feeling like they're stuck right now, just start the process. Whatever you think that is. Obviously everybody's journey is different. There's nothing that we can necessarily say. I hope that there's something that you can take from our video, from our process and our journey together. But there's no starting point. There's no exact starting point. Whatever you feel like you need to do, whatever you feel like you need to meditate on, to accept yourself. Once you accept yourself, it's easier to accept others. Once you're comfortable with you. So that's very, 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 very important. Go ahead.
No, I was definitely gonna say that it definitely starts with you. You know, I'm a big believer of you attract who you are, and I'm saying that because you can accept yourself for who you are, but understand that you're not a finished product, because nobody's perfect. And I'm not saying that you're gonna achieve perfection, but it's good to strive in that direction, because in striving, you know, for the moon, you end up hitting the stars. And being a star is not a bad thing. So I'll give you a perfect example of progression and growth. If just starting somewhere, let's just say you want to go work out, you want to go to the gym. Go to the gym for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not a bad thing at all. Do something that for the next time when it's time for you to go back, your mind will say to you, like, you know what, I wasn't in the gym that long. It wasn't that bad. Let me go get my 10, 15 minute workout in. What you will find, if I can predict something later on down the line, is that you'll find yourself being in there longer without even knowing it.
And that's a metaphor.
Right.
We're not necessarily, that's just an analogy for a process.
Right.
Start off small. You don't have to feel like that you need to be further along. You don't have to gauge your progress by anybody else's. It's just a starting point. And I think that you should all start today. Start your growth process. Start your journey. Start everything, like anything that you've been thinking about, anything that you've been wanting to manifest, nothing negative. Anything that you've been wanting to manifest, anything positive that you've been wanting to do to make yourself feel better, just do it. Let's just do it. This month, February, we just gonna do it, right?
It's February already.
Yep, it's February 1st, and I want you to just do it. I want you to start now.
Be grateful for your struggles, because without them, you may have never stumbled across your strengths.
For me, becoming isn't about arriving somewhere or achieving a certain aim. I see it instead as a forward motion, a means of evolving, a way to reach continuously toward a better self. The journey does not end. Heal and become a healer. Always becoming.